With molten death raining from the sky, Major Jack Carter knew humanity teetered on the brink of extinction. The scourge had come to conquer Earth, but little did they know what fury awaited them. On the ground, Jack rallied Earth's defenses, heart pounding with the knowledge that failure meant the obliteration of all humanity held dear. In orbit, the scourge warships closed in, bristling with apocalyptic weapons. "All right, you alien scum," Jack muttered through gritted teeth as he watched the armada approach. "You want Earth? Come and take it. But I promise you this, you'll regret the day you tangled with humanity." The battle that followed would become legend across the stars. But first, Jack had a planet to save. Sarah gripped the cockpit controls. Engines roared. Command center faded behind her as she flew into chaos. Satellites and scouts zigzagged around the void. She squeezed the trigger. A scout burst into flame, its metal shell spinning away. "One down," she said. Her ship turned toward the next target. "Stay close, Echo." Below, soldiers watched her dance among the stars, destroying scourge ships one by one. "That's Sarah!" they shouted. Her name echoed through the ranks. Jack stood firm, eyes on the data streams. Reports of lost outposts and cities under fire flashed on the screens, his jaw clenched at the worldwide chaos. Sarah's voice stayed steady, calling out ship movements and weaknesses. Jack leaned over the map, tracking her progress, connecting the dots. Patterns emerged, repetitive maneuvers, lagging counterfire. "Echo! Left flank!" Jack commanded, seizing the opportunity. The response was immediate. Human ships intercepted scourge attackers where Sarah had shown vulnerabilities. Lasers and missiles found targets with precision. In orbit, explosions flashed silent against the void. The debris joined Earth's ring, showing the defenders' resolve. Sarah looped back, scanning for threats, calculating the next move. Her squadron followed, focused. They shielded Earth, united by Sarah's lead and Jack's strategy, pushing back the darkness threatening their home. The command center buzzed with electronics and whispered voices. Major Jack Carter stood before a giant screen showing Earth's end coming closer. His face was stone, his eyes locked on the death wave. The encrypted call came. "Jack, I've got something big," Dr. Jiang said, voice crackling. "What is it?" Jack asked. His brow creased with tension. "The Terrapulse, a prototype. I can draw power from Earth's magnetic field to strike them, but it's untested. Could knock out all power." Jack froze, weighed the choice as the room watched him. Distant explosions pierced the silence. His voice sliced through the quiet. "Do it. Keep it secret. Myers, take your team. Escort the doctor to the Himalayas base." Myers nodded, face set with determination. Minutes later, they flew through war-torn skies, Zhang's vehicle in tow. Enemy ships filled the horizon. Myers stayed focused, hands steady on the stick, each evasive move precise as a surgeon's cut. Zhang monitored his instruments as he activated the pulse. The magnetic field oscillated. Numbers spiked, dials spun. Zhang held his breath and flicked the switch. A silent pulse shot through the enemy formation. Their ship slowed, sensors scrambled by the magnetic shockwave. On the ground, screens flickered. Operators rerouted power past disrupted systems. A collective gasp filled the room. Awe and dread mingled. Jack clenched his fists, watching the enemy struggle in the pulse's grip. Hope ignited in his chest, a blazing star in the shadow of despair. "Steady, Myers," he whispered. "Bring us victory." In the Himalayas, Zhang's hands trembled. He adjusted the pulse for another blast. Myers circled, vigilant. Guardian angel with iron will and loaded gun. The enemy redoubled their efforts. Visible panic even from afar. But Zhang prepped the next pulse. Absolute focus. On Earth and in hearts, a new war raged. One they dared to win. The command bunker was buried deep under the ground, a concrete shelter. Inside, the air smelled like machines. People talked in low voices around a steel table. Their faces showed the pain of war. Major Myers stood at the table's head. Dirt and sweat marked her uniform. Her eyes scanned the room fiercely. "Listen up," she said strongly. "I've seen my squad fight. We're more than soldiers. We're fighting hard for survival. And Dr. Jang, he's smart. His Terrapulse could help us win. I say, we use it." The room went silent. Each person thought about what Myers said. Far above, bombs shook the ground. Screens showed burning cities, crowds fleeing, and black alien ships in the sky. "We only get one chance," a leader said heavily. People nodded. They agreed. A grim feeling settled over them. "Do it. Fire the pulse," he said. Jang's hands moved precisely, connecting the pulse machine to power lines. Wires hummed with energy. Myers watched the energy levels on screens, guarding Jang. In the command room, Jack Carter tapped the console, counting down. "You're synced," he told Jang and Myers. "On your mark." The alien armada loomed above, huge and threatening, their ships prepared to attack. Like a wave about to crash down, they would crush Earth's last defense. Zhang nodded. "Pulse is ready," he said steadily. Myers glanced outside where her pilots fought to protect them. Jack's tapping stopped. "Fire it," he said. Zhang flipped the switch. Power surged into the machine, a silent promise of hope or doom. In space, the alien ships hesitated, caught in the pulse's grip. Below, screens blinked as the power grid flickered. Operators scrambled to keep it running. Myers clenched her jaw, already planning the next steps to protect their home. The leaders watched the screens motionlessly, hoping for victory, but fearing the worst. The pulse they created in desperation had been unleashed. One strong breath before humanity's end. Zhang pressed the switch. The base went silent. Deep below, the planet's core surged. Raw power funneled upward into the Terrapulse. The ground rumbled, bracing for the coming shockwave. In space, a solid shaft of light burst from Earth. It slammed the Scourge fleet. Lights blinked out as systems failed. Their deadly ships now floundered, helpless. On Earth, lights dimmed and screens went blank. Machines stilled. Hearts pounded in the sudden silence. In the command center, Jack watched the power flatline. Equipment hum died, leaving ghostly quiet. His fingers flew across the manual console, ready for this. "Fleet, engage!" His voice carried, reaching every pilot. Fighters rushed upwards, jets igniting. Cannons, reloaded without automation, fired with fury. In her cockpit, Myers glanced at the dark dashboard. Her ship sliced through disabled Scourge vessels. Her squadron followed, deadly shadows against the stars. Lasers and projectiles tore into vulnerable alien ships. Metal burst and flared. Below, Zhang collapsed into his chair, drained but victorious. The Scourge had thought Earth theirs. Now the cornered species struck back with savage desperation. The dreadnought broke through the debris and dying fires. Its armor ignored the crippling pulse that stopped the others. Glowing cannons aimed down at Earth. Emergency lights lit the silent command center. Jack watched the dreadnought over Earth on the main screen. Flickering backup power showed the cold, hard dreadnought, menacing. "It's still up, taking aim at cities. We end it now," Jack said, voice cutting static. "Understood. I'll handle it," Myers' breath steady in his earpiece. Zhang rushed over, a drone wired with explosives. One-shot torpedo, Myers. Raw, but packs a punch. No hesitation. "Send it up," she said. Myers flew through the chaos. Debris clanked and clanged off shields. She pushed on. Jack watched tense but silent. Her squadron fanned out behind in protection. The ship fired. Lasers sliced friendlies into fireballs. One by one, they drop. Deadpan, unchanged voice. She flew on alone, debris closing in. A dance with death. Jack clenched his hands, watching her blip near the dreadnought. "Almost there, Myers," he urged. Defenders stared at the screens. Hope and fear in their eyes. Zhang held the remote. One push and the drone flew from Myers' ship, straight, true, into the heart of the beast. The dreadnought fired wildly. Too late, the drone exploded inside. Bright flashes against black sky. A cheer quickly hushed. Jack reached for the radio. "Myers, you read?" Silence. The dreadnought's icon blinked out. Myers' jet now drifted. No sign of life. Jack watched the screen, willing her blip to reappear. Around him, whispers. Daring not to hope too loud, she delivered the blow, shattered the ship. Earth's surface breathed, freed from obliteration. Fighters rallied with strengthened resolve. A legend was born. Myers flew into hell to bring back tomorrow. But at what cost? Jack stayed by the radio, watching. Silent. The command ship exploded silently, throwing Scourge fighters into chaos. Earth saw its chance. Jack's fear for Myers turned into orders as formations attacked with precision. Myers floated in her battered fighter, controls dead. Through cracked glass, she saw wingmen cutting down Scourge ships. Pride welled up even as she struggled with restraints. Commander Myers, copy? Echo 3's familiar voice came over the radio. Read you, Echo 3. Got a lift? She croaked. Squadron ships tethered her crippled fighter as they descended to Earth. Crews rushed to free Myers from the metal shell. Word spread quickly. She had survived. Soldiers and citizens cheered her name, chanting victory. News blazed worldwide. In city squares, people embraced as fear, released into celebration. They danced under clear skies while fighters returned home. Dr. Zhang's team emerged, squinting at sunlight. Crowds hoisted and chanted them as heroes. Their ingenuity had helped Earth stand defiant. Jack's boots crunched on broken metal and plastic as he marched through the wrecked bridge. His voice barked orders to clear debris from the skies so it wouldn't hit cities. Myers stepped in, wearing dented, burnt armor. They shared a look that said more than words could. Together they watched the last alien ships streak and burn across the sky. After the ships finished falling, Myers sat with Jack. The crew stayed quiet, honoring the dead. Jack stood and spoke firmly about rebuilding lives, not just buildings. The crew nodded and clapped, committing to the future. Over the next months, people worked hard to rebuild. Concrete poured, steel rose, wires reconnected. Earth's scars slowly healed as buildings went up and windows shone again. At night, Jack visited new bars with the fallen's names glowing on the walls. Drinks poured, glasses clinked, stories of bravery flowed. Different people came to remember together. One night, Jack raised his glass, toasting those who sacrificed everything so others could live on. To honor them, the crowd echoed. Old divisions between countries and people now seemed unimportant after facing the Scourge. Fighting them had forged a stronger humanity. Faced with destruction, people found the will to survive and thrive. Recovery teams worked hard. Farmers replanted, kids went back to school, families rebuilt homes. Myers visited memorials, saluting memories by planting flags. A world that once fought over land and beliefs now stood united. Parks filled with laughter, skies cleared from war's scars. Humanity had triumphed over the enemy and old divisions. Their shared survival story created true unity. The burnt metal stink filled the wrecked Scourge ship. Soot-smeared text clawed through twisted metal as Jack watched the live feed from the command center. Got something, Major? Wires dangled where they'd ripped out the data core. Jack's voice crackled through the comm. Report! We decrypted part of the database. These aren't just scouts. There's a whole empire out there. They won't like losing. Ice settled in Jack's gut. Not fear, but determination. Understood. Keep extracting data. Every byte matters for survival. He faced the strategy room, littered with screens and paper. Grim faces awaited orders. Listen up. We got hit hard, but hit back harder. The Scourge sent the Vanguard and we sent them home. Round 1 done. Now we get ready for round 2. Nods and agreement murmured around him. They'd all seen the damage dealt and survived. We adapt. We learn. We fortify. Operation Vigilance starts now. No more waiting and watching. We anticipate their moves and stay ahead. Jack's gaze hardened. Are we clear? Clear, sir, came the response. Elsewhere, billboards flickered with Major Myers' face. Her battle footage played on loop. Bold text read, Join the Corps. Stand with Myers. Protect Earth. Recruitment lines swelled with purpose-filled youth. Myers' voice rang out, If I can give it all for Earth, so can you. In a Himalayan lab, Dr. Zhang hunched over the Terrapulse plans, fingers dancing across the keys with new calculations. The hum and spark of overloaded machines filled the room as he pushed the prototype's limits. "Make it stronger. More precise," he muttered. "Earth needs this." Everywhere, humanity rose from the rubble, unified and rebuilding. Children played heroes while engineers worked to fortress Earth. Jack's boots thudded back to command. "Update me on the data extraction. Intel gives us an edge." "Will do, Major." And so the Defense Corps readied itself, undeterred by the Shadow Empire. When they came again, Earth would stand ready. Jack rubbed his face as he sat in the cluttered tent. He looked at the message that scrolled across the screen, an offer from an alien race that had watched Earth fight the Scourge. They respected how humans battled to protect their home. Jack's voice was gravelly as he recorded his reply. "Thank you. We remain alert. We welcome exchange if your intent is peaceful." Word of Earth's stand had reached far. Now allies and enemies looked to the stubborn planet. An envoy from a neighbor world entered Jack's tent, the first visit to Earth. "Your species fascinates us. You fight with heart," they said in accented English. "We fight for our home," Jack said. His handshake was firm. In the days after, Jack navigated diplomacy carefully. Messages went between stars. Some offered aid, others technology. Jack demanded transparency behind each gift and smile. Each meeting was a chess match with more at stake than pieces. The tent became a hub where once hostile aliens sought Earth's counsel. Even old enemies wanted Earth's alliance now. "We never thought you could beat the Scourge. You proved us wrong," a reptilian admitted. Jack saw the patterns, the game of predators and prey among the stars. He walked through rising cities and saw children play amid scaffolding. His choices shaped humanity's place in space. Earth's grit was its strength. Jack would ensure their resolve in peace was as unbending as in war. At sunset, on the walls, Jack saw more than rebuilding. He saw a united Earth that mattered to the galaxy now. He hardened. They would not be prey again. "Message from Tauren Collective, sir. They wish to ally." Jack turned from the dusk. "I'll speak with them." Brokering the future, each deal weighed. Jack made Earth a power. Kids played below. Defenses stood ready. Earth would thrive as a force to be reckoned with. The hall buzzed with voices speaking who knows how many languages. Flags and banners from Earth and other worlds hung on the walls. Here in the battered ruins of a recent battle, politicians from across the stars met to talk. Major Jack Carter stood at the front, crisp in his uniform. No longer just a soldier, now he spoke for Earth. Strange creatures in wild clothes crowded around him. He cleared his throat and the murmurs stopped. You could hear a pin drop. "Friends of Earth," he said, voice calm and steady. "We're here today on our soil as free people. Earth stays free, and will join with anyone beyond our sky as equals." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A bird alien ruffled its feathers. One of the big-eyed fish people blinked slowly, seeming to agree. "We'll trade, share knowledge, make allies," Jack went on. "But be clear, Earth's freedom isn't for sale." All eyes locked on Jack as he spoke. Heads nodded along. His stance, strong but open, set the tone for days of talks to come. Papers slid across tables. Strange styluses etched agreements. Translators bridged the gaps between words and meanings. Major Myers stepped up next, squadron badge still on her uniform. Human and alien faces turned her way. Silence fell over the hall. "I flew my ship straight into the enemy's teeth. Watched friends burn in the sky," she said. Her voice didn't shake, but carried a raw truth beyond dramatics. "The Scourge wanted our world, our lives. We stood together and said no." Her story wove through the room. The echoes on the walls spoke of people who met darkness with light. Not whimpers, but spears. A bug alien clicked its limbs, maybe impressed. Myers finished up. "We've stared into the dark they brought, and we were the light that pushed back. Know this, we'll defend our home, and if needed, stand with all who want peace." Talk bubbled up again. Groups formed and shifted, eyeing Earth's heroes. Hands were shook. Devices chimed as new deals took shape, carving Earth's place among the stars. This summit under Earth's battered but still blue sky became the first page of a new story, a testament to the human spirit, not just survivors, but equals who refused to be silenced by the empty void. The conference room smelled of stale coffee. A hologram of alien ships hovered over the table. Jack stood with arms crossed, staring hard at the display. The aliens were friendly, for now. Tension filled the room. Decisions here would decide Earth's survival. "We'll reinforce your defenses," said the alien leader, small but with a commanding presence. Jack weighed his response carefully. "What do you get out of this?" Myers smiled. "They believe in us," she said, eyes bright. Zhang was skeptical. "They'll weave their tech into ours. We could lose control." Arguments erupted. Some pushed for the aid, others worried about hidden costs. Jack silenced them with a sharp motion. "We'll take the help, but on our terms. We stay in control, no exceptions." His tone allowed no debate. The alien nodded. "Agreed." Technicians entered with soldiers. They integrated alien and human tech. Zhang watched closely as his team exposed the code side by side with the aliens. "Monitor everything," Zhang told them. They worked precisely alongside the alien engineers. Myers watched the collaboration, pride and calculation mixing. Night fell. The stars shone as the work concluded. Earth had accepted aid but kept control. The future remained uncertain, with new risks and rewards now part of Earth's defenses. But Earth had not lost its way to dependency or fear. Jack walked through the busy halls of Earth Defense Command. Steel clanged and welders sparked as humans and aliens worked together. The air buzzed with work, a mix of human grit and alien smarts. He stopped at the viewing window. It showed the starship dry dock. Massive metal frames of starships were built there. The hulls used alloys never seen by humans before the war. The ships were Earth's first deep space navy. Jack's eyes traced the flagship's lines, sleek yet tough. Workers with laser torches pieced it together. The flagship stood for Earth's promise to guard their home and allies. Myers stood with Jack. Her uniform fit right. The fabric was part armor weave, part smart fiber. Her face showed pride, grit, and duty. She looked at Jack with the same fight she had in battles. "This is it, Jack. Our next mission," Myers said. Her voice had the same command as in dogfights. "You were made for this, Myers. That ship is a symbol," Jack said. His words were few but trusted her fully. She nodded and looked back out. The flagship's main bay doors slowly shut, hugging the ship in metal. Myers would soon fly it into the void, Earth's message of intent. In a lab full of screens and wires, Dr. Zhang led a new physics. His team, the best minds from Earth and beyond, gathered around a humming core. Visible energy swirled inside the unit. "Balance the magnetic flow," Zhang said. His hands flew over controls, tuning with precision. Alien scientists watched Zhang work, learning from his skills, adding ideas in a group effort. The propulsion system, a maze of coils and alien stuff, powered up. The hum grew loud, then quieted. Green lights flashed across the boards. Faster than light travel was real now. "We did it," Zhang breathed out. Humans and aliens looked around, agreeing history was just made. In the control room, Jack clasped his hands behind his back. The intercom crackled alive. "FTL is go, Major," came Zhang's voice, flat, to the point, huge. Jack's chest swelled, not with pride, but mankind's tireless soul. He took the intercom. "Copy, Doctor. Let's take mankind to the stars." Jack's echo bounced around the room. Operators turned to him. Their faces reflected the gravity of the time. Jack stood firm, a strong captain ready for the unknown. The news spread like fire worldwide. Mankind's first deep space flight was here. Hope bloomed where despair once was. In the command center, screens counted down the flagship's first flight. Each second left Earth's past and neared a future in the stars. Myers boarded the flagship, Her fingers brushed the cold hatch, her door to space now. She sat at the helm, surrounded by screens and controls. The ship's pulse matched hers, both ready to smash the light barrier. Jack's voice filled the bridge. "Godspeed, Commander Myers. Show them our grit." Myers smiled, briefly exposed. "Copy, Major. See you on the flip side." The flagship's engines roared alive. In a blur, the ship vanished, punching through space-time. Defenders evolved, now able to reach out beyond home. And Earth Defense Command stood then not just as military might, but as a beacon of explore and peace. Proof of human will and unity forged in war's fire. Jack watched the holomap. Red distress calls blinked along the border. His gunmetal eyes caught every flicker. He was Earth's watchdog, ever alert. The data streams showed skirmishes rippling the calm. "Scourge bastards still itching to fight," he muttered. Aboard the flagship, Commander Myers sat ready in the cockpit, calloused, hand on the controls. The intercom crackled. "Distress signal, Perseus Arm Edge. Looks like pirates with Scourge tech." Myers responded crisply. Coordinates locked, jumping in 3, 2, 1. Space folded as they jumped. Jaw set, no fear, just duty. They emerged behind the pirates, swarming a civilian ship. Myers' crew attacked immediately. Cannons fired. Beams struck the patched-up pirate ships. Hulls broke under the barrage. The pirates returned fire, slamming the shields. Crew shouted updates. They worked in sync, focused eyes, precise moves. Myers commanded, "Flank them, break their line." Fighters swooped, shattering the pirate formation. Escape pods launched from the civilians, engines flaring. Her crew moved to cover them. At command, Jack leaned in as Myers' victories streamed on the monitor. He nodded, almost invisible. Whispers of these battles slipped through travelers. Myers' name, once an echo at Earth, now a legend across the galaxy. Her courage a beacon of Earth's guardianship, humanity's pledge to stand vigil in the endless night. In the deep silence, among the stars burning with history and future, humanity's presence grew, joining the endless tapestry of the universe. The command center's alarm beeped loudly. Jack turned from the keyboard. A new dot pulsed red on the screen's galactic map. Unknown coordinates marked a fringe planet. "Myers, you getting this?" Jack's voice reached through space, calm and steady. Static crackled. Then Myers spoke. "Reading you clear. We got trouble out there." Jack's fingers flew across controls, pulling up images. Ships swarmed a small planet. Buildings collapsed as people scattered. Marauders, shooting anything that moves. Scavengers looking for fun. Myers switched comms. "Copy that. Heroes needed again. Strap in." Across worlds, engines roared on sleek ships marked by past battles. Crews wore suits meshed from Earth tech and alien gifts. In her cockpit, Myers eyed her team and nodded. Her ship leapt forward, leaving stardust behind. On the display, Earth's blips neared the invaders. "Remember your tactics. We've done this before," Jack told the fleet. Above the planet, ships banked and rolled into the fray. Lasers lit up space. Shields sparked, deflecting blows. The surprised marauders swung around to face the Earthborn challenge. Myers flew point, dodging shots. "Flank them on my signal. Pull them out. Now!" Her wingmen fanned out, surrounding the marauders. Bunched together, the enemies fell into her trap. Below, explosions quaked the planet's surface, a promise of rescue. Jack guided the fleet while faces in the command room glowed from screens. Eyes tracked each battle moment, souls tied to this unknown world. Desperate, the marauders fired wildly as Earth pushed harder. With Jack's plans and Myers' lead, the tide turned. "Myers, take out their flagship. It'll crack them." "Confirmed. Engaging." Her bolt pierced their leader's engine in sparks and flame. The marauders retreated, scrambling to survive. Cheers buzzed from the planet's transmissions. Above the freed world, Myers' worn but triumphant face showed through the glass. Earth's fleet held tight formation alongside new alien allies. In the command room, applause rose from shared humanity. Jack stood among them, a faint smile emerging. The planet's people came out of hiding, gazing upward as the ships ensured a clear sky. Children pointed, elders cried grateful tears. In the square, a statue of Myers rose from debris. Defender of the weak. inscribed below. Across Earth, news streams showed the rescue. Myers and her fleet, the saviors from the stars. In bars and homes, people toasted the heroes. An alliance was forged with this saved world. Myers, their icon. Jack, their hidden guide. Earth proved itself a bastion of hope, a force for good. The marauders came, but Earth stood firm. And still the work continued. Ships built, drills run. Myers' name echoed as an anthem. A vow that wherever needed, Earth would answer the call. Jack studied reports in the command hub. Earth leaders and aliens huddled over star maps, marking zones. On Jack's sleeve, an Earth patch. His fingers scrolled a data slate full of messages from distant systems. "Another request from Alaric," Lieutenant Harper said, tracking data. "Trustworthy?" Jack asked, eyes still down. "We'll vet them, fully." Across the table, aliens whispered trades, military aid, resources. An insect from Vortrax pushed data on planetary shields to a hub device. Jack's translator clicked, giving the words in English. "Shields for farms," it clicked. "Equal trade." "I'll review the tech," Jack said. "No hidden controls." The insect twitched agreement. The door opened. Commander Myers entered, uniform scorched. They saluted her. Jack's eyes asked a question. "Cleared pirates at Sullus," Myers said. "They fly our flags now." Jack nodded once. "Keep pressing. Be the light." In his quarters, Zhang studied star charts. Screens cast blue on his face. Earth's reach shone with new data points. "Focus on their cultures," Zhang told his assistant. "Avoid losing ours." She nodded, running social models. "Calculate the economic impacts," Zhang said. "Don't lose our values." In the docks, humans and aliens shared tools, working a hull. Jack walked among them, watching. "Good work," he said. "Keep our systems clear." Ships lifted off, headed for distant outposts. Humanity now stretched among the stars, holding up civilizations. Jack returned, ready for the next decisions. He trusted Myers with the unknown. Zhang to steer their growth. Building not just for now, but the future. The meeting hall was huge, the domed ceiling showing holograms of stars from each world. Here, the future of space politics would unfold. A coalition for peace was being born. Jack, Myers, and Zhang moved through the crowd. Their boots echoed on the metal floor. The three carried the weight of representing Earth in the negotiations. They stood together, looking calm, but alert. Jack kept his hand close to the datapad on his belt, ready to access profiles and reports. Myers scanned the room, watching everything with a pilot's sharp eyes. Zhang studied the holograms, his engineer's mind already planning strategies. A tall alien with bright feathers approached them. It offered a four-fingered hand. "Welcome, Earth. We've seen your strength and wisdom. It's time to join our peace coalition." Jack shook its hand firmly. He exchanged a look with Myers and Zhang. "We come in good faith, but our ideals matter. Justice, freedom, autonomy, these are non-negotiable for us. Earth is ready to help, but we won't give up who we are." The feathered alien nodded. Its kind valued direct talk. "We understand. Autonomy and fair voice are the foundation here. Let us discuss the specifics." Talks began. The hall now a quiet battlefield of ideals and contract terms. Myers watched the delegates, spotting resistance or cooperation in their body language. Zhang conferenced with Friendly Planet's tech experts, securing Earth's advancements. Days passed debating trade, defense pacts, planetary rights. "We must share tech, but our independence is untouchable," Jack said firmly. His calm voice carried Earth's defiance and strength. Heads and limbs signaled agreement. Myers stepped up. "We know sacrifice. We'll protect the coalition as fiercely as we've protected Earth, but never by surrendering our identity." Murmurs of approval echoed. Zhang spoke next, sharp mind on display. "Earth offers much in technology and knowledge, but this is an exchange, not a gift. We respect ourselves too much to accept less." The talks continued, worlds weighing in. Each sought harmony, but held their ground. A resolution was drafted, showing Earth's endurance and moral compass. When the final vote came, hands and tentacles raised together. A sense of shared triumph filled the room. Old and new allies welcomed Earth as an equal. The Alliance stood as guardians of peace, not conquerors. Their pact embodied shared prosperity and defense. After the meeting, Jack, Myers, and Zhang looked out at the stars. The cosmos spread before them, each light holding stories, homes, potential friends or foes. Jack broke the silence. Earth's place is here, at the heart of this powerful, peaceful union. A victory for our ideals. Justice, freedom, unity. Myers' eyes shone with determination. We survived fire to make it here. We'll carry that fire into this alliance. Zhang nodded, mind leaping ahead to Earth's future gains. Together, they gazed out at infinite space. Earth's presence in the coalition now secured. No longer a lone defender, but a vital alliance member. The pact they forged stood as a test for humanity's ideals, a force that would echo through time. Jack stood in his office, hands on the metal desk. The room held only his commendations. He stared at the display showing Earth's fleet across the sector, ready for anything. Command weighed on him. Peace or war, he murmured, moving the fleet. War flowed through him, each move a brushstroke, but peace meant a clean canvas. His reflection wavered. Jack closed his eyes, seeing a universe for exploring. The door opened. Myers entered, flight suit smelling of space. Her uniform showed her new rank, a star with Earth. Underneath were scars only she knew. I saw the display. New defense? Myers asked. Jack shook his head. Just thinking. Peace has its place, right? Myers looked down. Peace, she repeated. Her voice echoed battles. She touched her medals, each a lost friend, each tying her to Earth. Earth's good now, Jack said. Maybe I should step back. Myers leaned on the desk, meeting his eyes. You've fought every fight, Jack. You've earned leading us to peace. Jack nodded slightly. Silence hung between them, filled with understanding. Down the hall, Zhang sat surrounded by manifestos, hard copies spread out. He typed intensely, words spilling onto the screen. The manifesto held his life's work, Earth's potential in black and white. He looked up as Jack entered. I've outlined our path, Jack. Time to match our growth. Jack picked up a paper, reading the lines. These could shape centuries. Zhang nodded. Humanity's next chapter. Among the stars, not just as warriors, but progress pioneers. Jack set it down. A manifesto for a new age. Yes, Zhang said firmly. An age of enlightenment. Together they left, manifesto under Jack's arm. They walked the defense halls. Soldiers saluted their leaders. In the conference room, the finest minds and alien representatives waited, talking softly, quieting as Jack and Zhang entered. Jack stood at the podium, Earth's tenacity beaming. He held the manifesto high. This is our path, a pledge to discovery, knowledge, and peace. Hearts beat, eyes on the paper promising a future beyond conflict. Myers joined them front. She smiled genuinely at the human and alien faces. Her fame had spread, but Earth's survival lifted her. Major Myers, a young cadet called. You inspire us. She kept smiling. I'm one of many. Remember the fallen. They inspire building a better world. Applause filled the room. A harmony of species, a symphony of progress. Jack's manifesto guided Earth among the stars. Earth's role solidified. Jack struggled between warrior and peace. Myers stayed humble, grounded by sacrifice. Zhang's words lit the way, a manifesto for a new human age in harmony. Together, they stood at humanity's greatest adventure, carrying Earth's spirit into the vast cosmos. The sun sank over the rebuilt city center. Crowds filled the memorial plaza. Jack, Myers, and Zhang approached the memorial wall. Names etched into the stone honored the fallen. Silence fell as the ceremony began. Leaders from allied worlds joined Earth officials. All eyes watched the bare podium. One by one, speakers stepped up. They shared stories of sacrifice and valor. The crowd listened, focused. Jack's turn came. Medals glinted in the fading light. He radiated leadership. War had tested him. He stood firm. "We're here today because humanity united when the scourge threatened us," he said, voice crisp and steady. Eyes locked on him. The crowd waited, tense. Myers scanned their faces. Her breath held tight control. Her gaze found the wall of names, sparking memories. Zhang's eyes followed hers, reliving the darkest days and their victory. Myers spoke next. Each word weighed heavy with experience. "We honor their sacrifice. It forged our unity. History won't forget." Her voice resonated. Hearts understood. Zhang followed, rigid with respect. "We faced the end, but found strength. The pulse turned the tide, but our will decided it." Nods acknowledged the hard road walked, the challenges ahead. At sunset, Jack, Myers, and Zhang lit the memorial flame. Light washed the crowd. Young, old, human, and alien. The fire burned steady. They stepped back, sharing a glance. Much overcome. More to do. Night fell. Their silhouettes marked the bright flame. The vast future stretched before them. Struggle, hope, potential. Silence held as all considered the future. Peril and promise. The crowd drifted away. The three remained on watch till the last visitor left. Under the emerging stars they stood, a testament to human will, to unity forged in fire, to spirit carrying them forward. Jack stood in the command hub. The soft hum of machines surrounded him. Crisp, filtered air cooled his skin. On the big screen, dots of friendly planets connected by glowing lines. His hands locked tight behind his back. "Operation Starshield's on," Jack said. His voice cut the silence. Heads turned to look. The officers murmured, ready for action. They'd trained hard for this. In the fleet bay, Commander Myers checked her ship, the Resilience. Its name etched sharp on the sleek hull. She climbed into the cockpit and gripped the controls. Her seat fit her body's shape. Through the window, space awaited. She tapped her comm pin. "Resilience to fleet. We launch in 5. Stay on those patrol patterns. Stay sharp out there." Her steady voice gave strength. Her crew knew her well, a leader who didn't flinch, even in darkness. In the lab, Dr. Zhang stood before a big screen. Blueprints of sensors and beacons filled the display. He touched a panel. The deep space sensors came alive, signaling silently into the void. "These sensors will be our eyes," he said. "The beacons, our voice. We'll see danger coming and shout a warning." His team nodded, focused on the web they were weaving. In the command hub, Jack watched the blips of Myers' ships leave Earth behind. On the map, routes drew themselves as the fleet spread out, an embrace protecting Earth and her friends. "Keep them safe, Myers," Jack murmured. But he knew the words weren't needed. Myers was already ahead, in thought and action. Jack turned to the comm officer. "Broadcast on all channels," he said. He brushed the Earth patch on his uniform, a silent promise to those he served. The officer adjusted the controls. Quiet filled the room as the message readied to send. Across planets and ships, screens blinked on with Jack's face. He stood firm, gaze direct. "This is Major Jack Carter, Earth Defense Command. Operation Starshield is on. If you want peace, listen up. Earth's got a vigilant fleet. Make a move against our home or friends, and here's fair warning. Conquer Earth? Yeah, not so fast, buddy." His words echoed on screens across the galaxy. The message clear. The fleet moved with precision, an unbroken dance of checks and patrols. They guarded the silence where stars looked on. Their tight formation carved a message. Earth would not stand idle. Earth would not falter. On the ground, Dr. Zhang watched the last sensor blink on. A web of light in the dark, ready to sound the alarm at the first hint of shadow. Inside the command hub, beneath the expanse, humanity stood together, ready to defend, ready to preserve their hard-won peace.